Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today I am going to be doing my end of year TBR. So these are 12 books that I would like to get to by the end of the year. They are a combination of some of the 12 books from 12 friends that I still have left over. One of the books on my top 11 priority TBR, that then those two TBRs combined to make my 23 books in 2023. So some of the books off of that list, some anticipated reads that I have for the year that I still haven't gotten to yet, and then some that I'm just really excited to get to, like the synopsis excites me. So there is a nice little combination here of several different genres, several different reasons why they're on this list, and I'm hoping that I can get to them all by the end of the year. I do apologise in advance. I am feeling very stuffy at the moment. I've got a cold. I'm being attacked by a cold. It's on its way. It starts in my throat every single time. So I have been struggling with a really dry, sore throat recently, and I might sound a little bit bunged up. So I do apologise for that in advance. But without further ado, let's get into it. 11 of these I physically own. One of them is a pre-order because it's not come out yet. So let's do that one first. These are in no rhyme or reason as far as the order is concerned for what I'm telling you in right now. It's just the way that I've stacked them. So the first book that I am going to mention is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This comes out on the 7th of November and I'm really excited to continue on with this series. The first book in this series was Fourth Wing and I absolutely loved it. It's my favourite book of the year, so I am very much so eagerly anticipating Iron Wing and I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy. This series does follow a young girl called Violet, and she ends up being thrown into the Dragon Rider quadrant. She wanted to be a scribe. She ends up being thrown into the Dragon Rider quadrant by her mother, who is very high up in this world, and she's kind of assumed that she's not going to do very well and potentially die because she is quite weak as far as her bones are concerned. She's got quite brittle bones, she's very small, and people view her as being weak. Now, the thing I love about Violet is that she's very, very strong-willed and she will not allow people to drag her down, etc, etc. Although she does have some doubts in her head, she is more convinced that she can do something than everyone else around her, and I love that about her. There is a love interest with Xaden Ryson and I just love this series. There's everything to love about it. The love interest, the plot, the storyline, the dragons, everything about it, fantastic. 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this series and I'm so excited for Iron Flame. So that is the first book on this list. The second one is going to be Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the next book that I'm up to within the Chestnut Springs series and I really want to continue on with this series very quickly. So I absolutely loved Heartless, which was the second one. It's my favourite so far in the series and I'm not sure how something else is going to top that, but I'm really hyped to continue on with this one. This says 2 childhood best friends, 2 broken hearts, 1 impromptu road trip to get away from everything. Love that. Best friends to lovers, well, friends to lovers is one of my new favourite tropes because that is my relationship. So we're following Jasper Gervais, who is a hockey player, and we are also following Sloane. Jasper and Sloane, yeah, Sloane. I've just read another book with a character named Sloane in it. Anyway, that's what confused me. So we're following Sloane and Jasper. He's a hockey player, and I am so excited about picking this one up. I really love this series. The writing style is fantastic. The storylines underneath as well. There is so much going on within the stories and I really enjoy it. So I'm very excited to get to this one. I'm excited to read Jasper's story as well because so far we haven't had a great deal from him. He's been present, but he likes to keep himself to himself and I am intrigued. Very intrigued. So I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. Then we do have a book off of my 12 books from 12 friends, which is Malice by John Gwynne. Sophie did add this to my list, so I would really like to get to this one soon to try and knock this off the list. I know nothing about this. I know that it's epic fantasy and I know that lots of people have enjoyed this, so I'm looking forward to continuing on with it. I know Jade enjoys it. The Banished Lands have a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle. An uneasy peace reigns, but now giants stir once more. The very stones weep blood and there are sightings of gigantic worms. Those who can still read the signs see a prophecy realised. Sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. Young Corbin watches enviously as boys become warriors and yearns to join them, determined that he will make his family proud. It's only when everything he knows is threatened that he discovers the true cost of becoming a man. As the kings look to their borders and priests beg for answers from the gods, only a chosen few know that the fate of the world will be decided between two champions, the Black Sun and the Bright Star, and with their coming will be a war to end all wars. Interesting. I haven't picked up like a high epic fantasy for a while. It has been a while. The fantasies I've been picking up have been like cozy fantasies or, you know, lower scale fantasies. So it's been a while for a high epic fantasy, and reading that synopsis makes me quite intimidated, I'm not going to lie. So we'll see whether or not I do manage to get to this one, but I do really want to get to it soon, which is why it's on this TBR. So thanks, Sophie, for popping it on 12 Books from 12 Friends. I appreciate you. Then we do have another from 12 Books from 12 Friends, and we've got Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. Cassidy did put this one on my TBR. She was torn between this and Gallows Hill, so then Mel put Gallows Hill on my TBR as well. Again, don't know anything about this one, but I'm fairly certain that it's Killer Mermaids. If I remember correctly, it is a horror, and I'm intrigued. 7 years ago, the Artagatis set off on a voyage to the Marina Trench to film a mockumentary bringing to life the ancient sea creatures of legend. It was lost at sea with all hands. Some have called it a tragedy, others have called it a hoax. Now a new crew has been assembled to investigate, and they'll discover that whatever is down there is definitely no joke. So yeah, it doesn't give too much away, but I'm intrigued by this one, very intrigued by it indeed. So I'm excited to give this one a read, and thanks to Cassidy for putting this one on my 12 Books from 12 Friends. Then we do have one of my anticipated reads of the year, and so, for some reason so far I just haven't got to it. I feel like this season is not the season to be reading this book, but it doesn't matter because I still want to get to it this year. I would like to have ended the year having read this book, but it is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I have been meaning to pick this up since I got my hands on it. This is the Waterstones exclusive edition. I also have the Illumicrate one. This is 2 X's 1 packed. Could this holiday change everything? I believe that they, Harriet and Wynne are the perfect couple. I believe that they go on holiday with their families. They still think, the families still think they're together, so they're essentially fake dating, but they're not. And then I don't know if it then means that they get back together or not. I don't know if it ends in a happily ever after or not. They go together like bread and butter, gin and tonic, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Every year they take a holiday from their lives to drink far too much wine with their favourite people in the world, except this year they are lying through their teeth because Harriet and Wynne broke up 6 months ago and they still haven't told anyone. But the cottage is for sale, so this is the last time they'll all be here together. They can't bear to break their best friends' hearts, so they'll fake for 1 more week, but how can you pretend to be in love and get away with it in front of the people who know you best? Yeah, so I don't know if it ends in a happily ever after or not, or whether it's just them pretending to be together and that's the whole thing. But I'm intrigued. I've heard fantastic things and I'm really excited because I do love Emily Henry's romance books. So yeah, I'm really hyped for this one. Then we do have one of the books from my top 11 priority reads. So this is one that I put on myself that I really want to get to, and it is Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. I have started this one a while ago. I'm 63 pages in, and I really want to get to this one because there is a new book out now by Jennifer Hartman which encompasses it's kind of like although this isn't a direct follow-on from Still Beating, the main character from this story is featured in a chapter in Still Beating, so there is a slight crossover, and I think that the new book is following, I don't know who it's following actually in the new book, but I think again there is a crossover in the new book, so I'm intrigued to get to that one, and I can't read it without having read this one, so I need to desperately continue on with this one, and I am intrigued by it. We're following a guy called Oliver who went missing 22 years ago and then just suddenly came back one day. He has been living in a bunker underground for the last 22 years, and he knows nothing of the outside world. He was told that the world went to shit, it was all blown up and you couldn't be outside anymore without a mask on, and he's been living in a bunker since. And then one day he got out, and he's now trying to integrate himself back into his life, but he's struggling to remember people. It's been so long. He was a child and now he's an adult and he's struggling to remember people. We're following his best friend as well, who is Sydney, and there is also his brother. I don't know if we get any POVs from his brother. I don't know if it's just Sydney and Oliver, but I'm really intrigued by this one, and so far I am enjoying it. I just need to get back to it. I haven't been prioritising it, so I need to do that because I'm very excited about the new one. So yeah, I really do want to get to this one. I'm intrigued by it. I loved Still Beating. It was one of my favourite books of last year, and I really want to reread it. Actually, as disturbing as it is, I do want to reread it. It was fantastic. So yeah, always check the trigger warnings with Jennifer Hartman as well, because the books are very, very dark, but I'm excited to get to that one. Then we do have Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. This one just came through in the post this weekend. I loved The Last Housewife. Wasn't a huge fan of why do I keep forgetting the name of her other book? In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I gave that one 3 stars. Then I gave her a second chance with The Last Housewife, and now I'm very excited for this one. I don't know the full synopsis for this one, but a killer haunts a small southern town, and 2 outcasts, the preacher's daughter and the boy from the wrong side of the tracks, hold the key to uncovering the truth. Those 2 characters sound like the main 2 characters from Footloose. That's what I immediately thought of. That's clearly not the case. For fans of Verity, love that book, and A Flicker in the Dark, I haven't read that one yet, but I own it. Midnight is the Darkest Hour is a twisted tale of murder, obsessive love, and the beastly urges that lie dormant within us all, even the God-fearing folk of Bottom Spring, Louisiana. In her small hometown, librarian Ruth Cornier has always felt like an outsider, even as her beloved father rains fire and brimstone warnings from the pulpit at Holy Fire Baptist. Unfortunately for Ruth, the only thing the townspeople fear more than God and the devil are the myths that haunt the area. Like the story of the Low Man, a vampire figure said to steal into sinners' bedrooms and kill them on moonless nights. When a skull is found deep in the swamp next to the mysterious car's symbol, Bottom Springs is thrown into uproar, and Ruth realises only she and Everett, an old friend with a dark past, have the power to comb the town's secrets underbelly in search of true evil. A dark and powerful novel, like fans have come to anticipate from Ashley Winstead's Midnight is the Darkest Hour, is an examination of the ways we expect love, religion and stories to save us, the lengths we have to go to in order to take back power, and the monstrous work of being a girl in this world. Interesting. I didn't know there was a... I don't know if there is actually an element of vampires in here, but the vampiric figure is set to steal into sinners' bedrooms. I didn't know that was an element in here. So I am very intrigued by that. I'm excited to give this one a read. So yeah, I popped this one on here. Then we do have another one from my top 11 priority. So I have put this one on here, and it is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I've heard great things about this. I know it was a favourite from last year. I know a lot of people have been reading it this year because of that, and it's been their favourites as well. This is the Waterstones exclusive, and this isn't a romance book. This is not a romance, but it is about love. Following 2 kids who meet in hospital gaming room in 1987. One's visiting a sister, the other is recovering from a car crash. The days and months are long there, their love of video games become a shared world, a joy to escape and fierce competition. But all too soon, that time is over, fades from view. When the pair spot each other 8 years later in a crowded train station, they are catapulted back to that moment. The spark is immediate, and together they get to work on what they love, making games to delight, challenge and immerse players, finding an intimacy in digital worlds that eludes them in their real lives. Their collaboration makes them superstars. This is the story of the perfect world Sadie and Sam built, in it, the imperfect world they live in, and everything that comes after success. Money, fame, duplicity, tragedy. Tomorrow, Tomorrow and Tomorrow takes us on a dazzling imaginative quest as it examines the nature of identity, creativity, disability, failure, the redemptive possibilities in play, and above all, our need to connect, to be loved and to love. I'm really intrigued by this one. I don't know why I've been putting it off. Maybe because it's a really popular book and I tend to do that. So I am intrigued about it, but I've heard fantastic things, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next, we do have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I'm really intrigued by this book. I have heard fantastic things so far, and I'm very intrigued about picking it up. I think this has like an element, it's fantasy obviously, but I think it has like maybe a horror element, I'm not sure. But I'm really excited. It's definitely got a romantic element to it as well. I know nothing about it. It's a gothic fantasy romance about a maiden who must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom. I was born with the fever, my blood dark as night. An ancient mercurial spirit is trapped inside Elspeth Spindle's head. She calls him the Nightmare. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, she is thrust into a world of shadows and deception. Together they embark on a dangerous quest to cure the town of Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. As the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, Elspeth is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The nightmare is slowly, darkly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. It sounds very intriguing, and I have heard truly incredible things, so I'm very excited about picking this one up and getting another book off of my subscription box list as well, because I really need to start making my way through that list. It's getting overwhelming. Another subscription box book that I have that I'm intrigued to get to before the end of the year, If I Have to Be Haunted by Miranda Sun. This came recently in the Fairy Loot box, and this is absolutely stunning. I am obsessed, and it sounds fantastic. Cara is just trying to stay on top of all her classes, excel at her extracurriculars, and prepare for college, which means not speaking to the dead, an ability she inherited from her grandmother. Ghosts are trouble, and Cara doesn't need to add their problems to her own. But then she stumbles upon the body of Zach, the super popular but very newly dead high school golden boy, in the woods, and guess what? He wants her to resurrect him. Cue trouble. Miranda Sun's debut touches on the power and conflicts of mother-daughter love, first romance, and finding your place in the world while honouring your culture. Full of heart, humour, and thrills, If I Have to Be Haunted will put a spell on you. It sounds incredible. It sounds perfect for October/November. And I am really, really hoping that I can get to this before the end of the year, because I am dying to read it. When I opened it out of the box, I actually said that I really wanted to put it on my October TBR. So there is potential for me to be able to pick this up. I do have a 24-hour weekend reading vlog coming up, in which I'm going to be doing Spookopoly rolls. So if this has the option to be put on there, I will do so. If not, it will be thrusted into November. So we'll see how that goes, but very excited about this one. Then I do have All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. I haven't read from this author before, but I do have A Flicker in the Dark, which I mentioned earlier. And I am excited about that one as well, but this is the new one, and I've been wanting to get my hands on this since it came out. But it went missing off of my wish list. This is what happened. It went missing off of my wish list. I thought it was on its way, so I didn't buy it. And then it never turned up. And I think someone put it in their basket and then bought it for themselves off their wish list. And then it disappeared off my wish list. So I ended up buying it during the Prime Day deal. And I'm really excited about it. I've forgotten, to be honest, what it's about. It's a very short synopsis, but I'm really looking forward to this one. What happened to Mason Drake? It's been a year since Isabel Drake's son Mason disappeared from his bedroom. Since then, she hasn't had a full night of sleep. Everyone else has moved on, the detectives, the press, her husband, but she can't rest until she knows the truth. Teaming up with true crime podcaster Waylon Spencer, Isabel investigates her son's case, but Waylon has motives of his own. As long-forgotten memories of Isabel's past resurface, doubt begins to cloud her sleepless nights. What if the past is better left buried? It sounds interesting, and I think the thing that got me by the throat with this is the podcast element, because I love a podcast element in a thriller. So I am super stoked about this. I'm hoping that there is podcast elements throughout the book, albeit it doesn't look like that's the case with the writing style. Sometimes when it's done in a book, the writing is different, like it's in italics or something instead. But maybe it is, and it's just that the writing is the same. But I'm really excited about this one, so I'm very intrigued to get to it. So this is also on the list. And then last but by no means least, we do have another anticipated read of mine for the year, and it is The Malevolent 7 by Sebastian D. Castell. It's shocking to me that I have not finished this book yet, because I did start it and I got 80 pages in. I think I was not in the right headspace to be reading this, and I didn't want to ruin the book when I wasn't in the right headspace to be reading an anticipated read. This one is quite confusing to explain off of the top of my head. 7 powerful mages want to make the world a better place. We're going to kill them first. I just love the synopsis of this, so I'm just going to read the synopsis. Picture a wizard. Go ahead, close your eyes. There he is, skinny old guy with a long straggly beard. No doubt he's wearing iridescent silk robes that couldn't protect his frail body from a light breeze. The hat's a must too, right? Big floppy thing covered in esoteric symbols that would instantly show every other mage where this one gets his magic. Wouldn't want a simple steel helmet or something that might, you know, protect the part of him most needed for conjuring magical forces from being bashed in with a mace, or pretty much any household object. Now open your eyes and let me show you what a real war mage looks like. But be warned, you're probably not going to like it. We're violent, angry, dangerously broken people who sell our skills to the highest bidder. Moral or ethical considerations be damned. At least until such irritating concepts as friendship and the end of the world get in the way. My name is Cade Ombra, and I currently make my living as a mercenary wanderist. I used to have far more noble sounding job title until I discovered the people I work for weren't quite as noble as I believed. Now I'm on the run, and my old friend, a homicidal thunder mage, has invited me to join him on a suicide mission against the 7 deadliest wizards on the continent. Time to recruit some very nasty people to help us on this job. I just love Sebastian de Castell's writing style. It's all Jade's fault, and I thank her thoroughly for it. I am obsessed. The audiobook is fantastic so far. My favourite narrator, Joe Jameson, is doing the narration in this, and I believe there's a talking goat in here, so I'm very intrigued to see how that goes. But yeah, so far I'm currently 80 pages in, enjoying myself. I am tempted to start again. It's been a while, so I am tempted to start again to fully immerse myself in the book. But I really want to get to this before the end of the year. I'm going to be so pissed with myself if I do not. So yeah, I'm very excited about reading this one as well. And that is my 12 end of year TBR books. I am excited, overwhelmed, but I'm hoping, I think it's achievable. I'm hoping I can get to them, fingers crossed. Let me know in the comments down below if you are excited about any of these, if you've read any of them, what were your thoughts on them, and what is something you would like to get to before the end of the year, because there is so much more I want to get to before the end of the year, but this is my priority, and I think that this is doable, she says. So let's see whether or not I can keep that focus, because that would be great if I could. And yeah, chat to me in the comments down below. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.